Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica, and today I'm going to be talking about books with arranged marriages. So there's a couple books that I've recently read that has arranged marriage tropes, and I just really wanted to talk about them because they were a lot of fun. The first one I want to talk about, I literally just read yesterday, and I binged it. I just could not stop reading it. I got this romance recommendation from, well, it was Sam from Sam's Reads a Little and Nicki from Nicki and Bookland. We're talking about it on Reading Sprints. Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl has read it, and she really liked it and started talking about it because we were talking about surprise baby romances, because I've been in a surprise baby romance mood. This isn't really a surprise baby romance. This is more like breeding kink, I think. That's only like one very small subplot of this book. This is called Scorn Vows by Victoria Page. I've never read Victoria Page before. This is a new to me author. This is a mafia arranged marriage. I mean, I'd give it a surprise baby breeding kink, but it's also amnesia, and it has a 2-year time jump, which was needed. And the hero was fairly terrible in the beginning, but man, does he grovel after he gets her back. And it is so good. I read it in one sitting. For me to sit there and read an ebook for over 400 pages, that's not an audiobook, you know it's good, because I was like, oh, I was just eating it up. It was so good. So this is about Luca Moretti and Natalia Conti, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. They're both part of the Italian mafia. He's in Chicago. I think her family's from Palermo, Sicily. And there's is an arranged marriage, and she wanted to be in a love match, but I mean, obviously being in part of the mob, you're not going to be. And so she goes in thinking, hey, I'm going to go in and make the best of the situation. So she goes in thinking, hey, I'm going to make the best of this situation. She has a bit of a secret identity where she's doing things to help girls who are being sex trafficked. I'm not going to give more than that because you really need to read this book, you guys. I mean it. You need to read this book. And one of the things that is expected of them is to have a baby. She doesn't quite know this. He sort of says, we need to have a baby. So he proceeds to basically throw out her pills, and he gets her pregnant. Well, then he starts to become a really big jerk after he gets her pregnant, so he does not fall in love with her because she's already in love with him. And then they're enemies because they have the same enemy, but they don't really know it. Attack. She ends up getting kidnapped and ends up having this trauma after having postpartum depression, and ends up losing her memory. And then you have the 2-year time jump and is missing. Her family thinks she's dead. He does not think she's dead. He's looking for her. And then he finds her in this small town, living another life. And it goes from there. And then he takes her back, and he has to, with the doctor who's helping her, and he has to grovel because he really messed up with her before she loses her memory. I mean, he really messed up, and he admits that he messed up, and it's so good. It is really, really good. So don't let the baby trope scare you off on this. Trust me, don't let the baby trope scare you off. It's really good. It's messy. This book is messy, okay? And it has the mafia feel to it. So I liked the arrangement. I like how he tried not to fall in love with her, and he did. Cheyenne gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was really, really good. This isn't a surprise baby because it wasn't oops. She wasn't trying to keep a baby from him. It was none of that. It was actually breeding. He was purposely trying to get her pregnant. So that was a whole thing. But I absolutely recommend this one. It is so good. The next one that I read that was an arranged marriage was The Gift by Julie Garwood. This one we are going to be reading for the historical Hellions. I finished this one yesterday too. Like, and I gave this one 5 stars, right? This is on my favorites list. I totally forgot. I read this a long time ago with a friend of mine. We were reading some of Julie Garwood's books, and I remembered the plot, but I could not remember the title of the book. But I remember the plot because I really liked the plot. This is about Sarah and Nathan. They were forced into arranged marriage when Sarah was 4 years old and Nathan was 14 by the King of England. And this is King George. And if you know anything from like Bridgerton or even history, King George was considered mad. He had mental health struggles. And so the Prince Regent, where you get the Regency heir, i.e. Jane Austen, that's why there was a regent, because the king could not rule because he was considered mad. Anyhow, this is a feuding family situation. So Sarah's family, the Winchesters, and Nathan's family, the St. Jameses, were feuding. And to get peace and to get this gift, which is a parcel of land in between the family's estates, which was more fertile and had the water rights, basically, and they could take the water rights away from each other at the time of the marriage if either backed out. So for example, if Sarah backed out, then that land and the water rights would go to Nathan. If Nathan backed out, then the water rights in the land would go to Sarah. So neither were going to back out, right? Now Nathan was a spy, and he had a secret identity as a pirate, right? And he's a nobleman, he's a marquess. And Sarah's family is absolutely horrible. She wants this marriage to work. She's a dreamer, okay? And Nathan has this touch her and I'm going to kill you type of a vibe going on. And he thinks that she's trying to run away from him. So he goes to kidnap her. Well, she's trying to save her aunt from her horrible family. And you get changes of scenery through this. You start in England, then you go onto his ship, and you have this whole thing with her parasols and pirates. And so and it's so fun. And then you go to this Caribbean island, and then you go back to England, and they're falling in love. And so yeah, I loved this one. There was really great banter. There's the feuding family, there is this arranged marriage, you have the pirate part of it, you have the intrigue part of it. There's so much different parts of it. I just truly loved this book. I highly recommend this one if you love historicals, or if you're trying to look into going into historicals. It's just so good. And my kitty is with me now. So another one that I recently read is a secret society one that has witches, so it has a paranormal element. The Sacrifice Duet, and it's darker, and it's not really, I wouldn't call it mafia. It has a slant on religion to it, and it has, anyways, from A. Zavarelli and Natasha Knight. The first one is The Tithing, and The Tithing, you have to read them in order to understand, obviously. Willow is a witch, and she's supposed to be the sacrifice of the two families. And this is, again, it's a feuding family type of a situation. And Azrael, who's supposedly descended from fallen angels, is forced to marry her, and then he is forced to sacrifice her. And his grandmother is evil. He has a sister who's really sick as well. Anyway, they go in, and there's a curse upon both of their families. He marries Willow, because she has the mark. They end up falling in love with each other. And then the tithing, so they started, And Willow was originally being stalked by this cult with this guy who really wanted her as his own, and she ended up scarring his face, and he ended up in jail. And before Azrael took her to wife, and then it ended on a cliffhanger, and then you get to the penitent, where Willow and Azrael need to find a way to break the curse, because does not want to sacrifice Willow. There's a lot of threats inside his family and outside the family, obviously. I don't want to give a lot more away because there's a lot of intrigue in this and it's darker. There is a lot of chemistry in this book. There's a lot of, they have to learn to trust each other. Again, there was a lot of trust that had to be built between two books, because she didn't know that he was going to kill her. She knew that if she married him, she would die, until she found out that he was going to be the reason why. And it was really interesting. This book was really, really interesting. It was dark. Not so dark like Nina G. Jones dark or Anna Zare's dark, but this was fairly dark. And it definitely had some religious slant to it and some definitely paranormal slant to it. I would recommend it if you like that type of thing. But the arranged marriage part of it was really good. So the last book I want to talk about, that's an arranged marriage. And this one is, I feel like I need to go back to Cora Riley when I'm talking about arranged marriage. And I'm going to talk about Sweet Temptation. And this is Cassio and Julia. Cassio is a widower. He has 2 small children. And he is the boss man over Philadelphia. He's part of the Familia. If I remember correctly, Julia is related to Luca, and so he marries Julia because he needs a wife and basically a live-in nanny, because he doesn't really want a wife after what happened with his ex-wife, because his ex-wife was pretty terrible. And Julia loves sunflowers, and she's very sweet. This is very much Grumpy Sunshine, so that's very interesting for a mafia romance. In this one, you got a lot of the day-to-day stuff with Julia, in her taking care of Cassio's kids, and Cassio and Julia falling in love, and her and Julia finding out what happened to his first wife and why it was so traumatic. And honestly, I really liked it. I really liked the dynamic between Cassio and Julia, and I liked the dynamic between Julia and Cassio's kids. And this is not just an arranged marriage, it's also age gap as well. And I feel like this one was just really good. It wasn't too mafia heavy. So this is a good one if you wanted to start into mafia. That's why I put it on here. So those are some of my recommendations for arranged marriages, not just mafia, but you're going to get a lot of mafia recommendations for arranged marriages in contemporary romances. Anyway, let me know if you have any for me down below. And if you made it this far in this video and you'll let me know that you've been here, please leave me a pirate flag, since the gift had a pirate in it. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.